What's up everybody and welcome to Immersive Armor. So this is kind of my first ever just standalone mod video for Skyrim. I normally make them in little lists, but today I wanted to do something a bit different if any of these guys actually decide to fight back, which it looks like some of them will. But regardless, Immersive Armors, if you do not know, is basically a massive mod for Skyrim, adding in, well, obviously a ton of different armors, but all of them are very immersive. And I was a little confused on how to actually make this video because of simply how large of a mod it is. It's actually kind of difficult to figure out, alright, well, what armors do I include, what armors do I not? So first and foremost, let's get through some of the facts. What does this mod actually do? Well, first and foremost, of course, it adds in 55 new armors, including a lot of these have variants, so it's 55 new types of armors, but included in some of those types are going to be things like shields, they're going to be things like a heavy armor and a light armor. Like there's a lot of, I guess, knight-oriented armors in this, and a lot of those do include a heavy helmet, chest piece, etc., and a lot of them include a light version of that as well. So on top of that, it adds in, again, a bunch of shields, but also, as you can see, even as I'm fighting some of these Stormcloaks, what is this thing in his hand? This is not the normal shield he'll have. It actually implements a lot of these new armors into the enemies in the game. Was that a dragon? I don't know. But regardless, it does implement them into some of the different people. So as you can see, they're going to spawn with some more interesting armors and stuff for you to check out, as well as it's just stuff you can craft and actually find for yourself and only for you to use. Regardless, it is very lore friendly. Again, it's nothing crazy, all stuff that is either based on Skyrim lore. So for example, you'll find stuff that basically just straight up fits into Skyrim, you wouldn't even know it's a mod, or some other stuff that very closely fits in. Maybe it doesn't perfectly fit in, but is just about there nonetheless. So I guess I'll actually start showing you some of the armors. Basically, I picked out some of what are my favorite armors out of the bunch. Actually, the one I'm using right now is probably my favorite out of the bunch, but regardless, let's check them out. So first and foremost, of course, we do have the Wild Hunt armor. And as you can see, this is adding in a very cool armor. It definitely has kind of an evil, or I don't want to say demonic, but a scary theme. It's supposed to be owned by, I guess, a hunter. That is why it has all like these skulls and different animal bones on it. And I think it just looks very cool, especially if you're going for a more vicious or evil character, such as my orc character here, who just doesn't look like the friendliest individual, even though he has a few arrows pointing out of him. But again, regardless, this is actually probably one of the simpler armors in the game, in the sense that it doesn't have as many like the different options that some of the other ones do. But I still think it just looks so good. Like, look at the quality this armor is bringing as this lady gets up and all these guys. I turned off the combat AI, so they won't attack me. Regardless, I just think that this is such a high quality armor, and basically the way these armors work is a lot of them were done by different mod authors, and that's why it actually unfortunately isn't being ported over to Xbox One right away. I did ask the mod creator, Host Trooper 44, to kind of compile these all, but basically like this armor might have been made by mod author 1, while the other mod author did make all those different shields we saw, so he basically wants to get permission from all of them before porting it over to Xbox One, which hopefully will be happening soon. But he does have plans to do that, so do not fret, it is coming eventually, just not quite yet. Well, we are standing on a dock after all, so maybe the Cdawg Armour would be something more up your alley. This is going to be something you'll find on just some of the different enemies around the sea regions, as well as, again, as I said before, all these armors you can just simply craft yourself. There's no like quests or anything like that to get them. You'll either find them in the wild, in shops, among different people, or you'll be able to just craft them from the normal ways you craft armor. But of course, it's not just going to be open instantly. You're going to need various perks or be a certain level depending on some of the different armors. Of course, this one being kind of pirate themed with the Cdawg name, I actually really like it, especially if you're using some of the different mods that like add in pirate ships or boats or stuff like that. So in my eyes, this is actually one of the most badass looking armors. This is the Dragon Knight armor. As you can see, it is adding in a kind of heavy Dragon Knight armor. Let's actually go back to fighting these guys. But basically, actually a little kind of disclaimer here. As you can see, ow, as you can see, this is actually going to be one of those armors that did offer a heavy and a light version. So of course here I am using the heavy version of this armor, but there was also kind of light variants that wouldn't be as protective and obviously wouldn't have as good of stats, but still pretty good nonetheless. And let's go run up to these guys so I can try and get some cool finishers to actually show you guys the armor more closely. But as you can see, this, like, all these armors are just such high quality. You don't see any, or at least personally, I don't find anything on them that makes me think, oh wow, you know, like there definitely was some sacrifices made here. They just all look so good, and it's honestly crazy to see an armor pack of this caliber having variants, like actually having some depth to some of these armors. And let's go show you another one now. So maybe all of those kind of traditional knight armors weren't really for you. You don't want to be a knight in shining armor. You want something a little bit different. So here we do have the boiled chitin, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, armor, which basically, I mean, I guess put frankly, it looks like you boiled like a crab or some other shellfish and then made it into an armor. It actually includes this shield too, which looks very cool. And this is honestly one of the most interesting armors, I think, out of the bunch. It has a very interesting look to it, and I really like the look of the shield and all that. But as you can see, running around in the armor, you do look pretty badass, and it is way more unique than all the other armors in the game. And that's one thing I do like about this mod. It's not just like, all right, here's Knight Armor 1, Mage Armor 2, Mage Armor 3. We have a few little oddities like this that definitely make it stand out a little bit more, as we go get some free shots on some of these guys. Make it stand out a little bit more than some of the alternatives. And this guy, I don't actually know how he's fighting back, because his AI is turned off, but we can finish some of them off and get a cool kill move. There you go. 10 minutes later, that's what I've been trying to do. But there's a few more I do want to show you before ending up this video, because there's just so many in here. There's honestly so many armors I do want to show you guys. Obviously, that's not always possible, though. So another thing this mod does is actually build on existing things in the game. So right now, I'm holding the Akaviri sword, which is in normal Skyrim. The DLC or this mod do not add that. But what this mod does add is the Akaviri armor. So now you have a nice armor to go with that sword. And again, some of these different armors do have, like, maybe there was a shield for a certain faction or something like that. Well, now it's going to add in a full armor set to go along with that. Again, really like that implementation. I think it's really cool. Plus, I just kind of like how they have a samurai armor or a samurai styled armor. Obviously, it is very beaten up and old, but you can modify some of these different pieces in some of the different crafting stations. And also, to build off that, there's a lot of like heavier armors or like just different armors for the two different factions. So like there's a heavier Stormcloak knight armor, there's a heavier what are the other guys, Imperial knight armor, etc. There's a bunch of different hunter armors and stuff like that, where you could just kind of build off the existing and not have to worry too much about just brand new stuff. As you can see here, I think he's using a new shield as well, added in by this mod, which is pretty cool to see. So I think I have like one or two armors left to show you. Let's check them out. So maybe all that other stuff was a little bit too much for you. Well, now we actually have a simpler one. Obviously, I'm using the helmet from the previous mod, but basically this is just a barbarian armor. It's meant to just be a little bit more minimalistic. As you can see, it adding in all these bracers on my hands and those things on here. Obviously, I have the boots on from before, but it's just a much more simplistic armor. Obviously, it is still an armor. It is providing me some protection, but again, there's just such a variety. I want to try and express that to you guys. It's not just heavy chain armors. There are other options in this mod. So now here to kind of end it off, as you can see, we actually have some more minimalistic ones. As you can see, this is like a Falkreath, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, regardless armor, but I'm using some different armor pieces to go along with it. So it's only adding in that little chest piece section there, and all around, Immersive Armors is probably the single best armor mod for Skyrim. There's a reason it was one of the most downloaded mods for previous Skyrim, or in just regular Skyrim, and that is because of just how much it adds in and how expansive the mod is. It's not just one type of armor, it is kind of a lot of variety. It's going to change a lot of the existing enemies, such as the enemies I was fighting throughout this video, using a lot of different pieces, even though they're just normal Stormcloak and Imperial soldiers, or some of the different castle guards. All around, again, probably one of the best armors to download. If you're on PC, obviously, I think this is a must download. If you're on consoles, it should be coming soon, so just look forward to it based off this. Even these guys, I'm pretty sure they're using one of the new helmets added in by this with one of the barbarian ones, and then we can finish those guys off. But that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. I do hope you enjoyed. This is my first kind of standalone mod video for Skyrim, but there should be more to come when we get into some of these bigger mods, and especially when the kind of mod spam does slow down. I wanted to make list videos more because, well, there were just simply so many different mods coming out that I was like, well, I can't just make a single video on this. I have to get as many mods in a video to show you, because there were so many good mods. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hope to see you all next time. Later.